Hi, my name's Don Bryan, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about my journey, my challenge of updating my home studio system on a budget. Okay, so yeah, I wanted to make this video because I've used videos like this on YouTube and other media channels to kind of help me answer questions and learn new things and overcome challenges in my personal journey, occupation of being a musician, songwriter, producer, audio editor. So I want to just try and give a little bit of some back to that kind of like pool, that cloud of wisdom sitting out there, and I hope I'm doing that in this video. The key thing being what I'm trying to achieve with this video and the others to follow is, what you can achieve on a budget. You don't need to spend a lot of money. You don't need to buy a brand new kit. You can achieve a lot now in this technological age on a budget. So let me talk a little bit about my system and what I'm attempting to do going forwards. Okay, so I have been running Pro Tools 8 to be precise, on a first generation Mac G5 for many years now, maybe 10 plus years. Both things were acquired, Pro Tools and the Mac were both acquired second-hand. I didn't buy them new. I just kind of got them kind of like via internet searches. As I say, never let me down really if I'd one or two little issues, but now the G5, which is first generation, so we're talking circa 2003, 2004, has basically come to the end of its useful life. So in order for me to continue, I need to replace that. That's the key thing. So that's what's driving what's behind this video and my project to upgrade that on a budget. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that, the specs of my system I want to upgrade to next. So I've been running Pro Tools 8. It's been fine. I don't have an issue with Pro Tools 8. Functionally, that does all it needs for what I tend to do, which is kind of just tracking kind of live instruments. But the Mac is starting to fail. So with a budget, what's the next step I can make to kind of stay in the Pro Tools environment, ecosystem, but have a machine now that I'm confident is going to perform well and last many years, several years, into the future. So I think the natural progression from the G5 I've got, the first generation G5, is the Mac Pro, which looks almost, from the outside, looks almost identical to the G5. It has basically, because it does have the same chassis, it sits in the same body. The few indications that it's different in terms of like the connections on the exterior of the machine, the tower, but essentially it's the same tower, the same frame, aluminium frame. It sits in, but the internal architecture is different. So I've looked on eBay. There's quite a healthy selection of machines, Mac Pro machines available, and I've kind of narrowed it down to one which I think is for what the seller is asking for is actually extremely good value. So that's kind of probably what I'm going to go ahead and get. I'll give you some of the specs. So that it's a I think it's called just one moment. What is it called? Yes, so it's called the Westmere. So this is a Westmere Mac Pro, which comes from mid 2010. The seller has kindly sent me the serial number, which you can get off the machine. You know, when it leaves the factory, they put a label on it with serial numbers and other numbers on it, reference numbers, and you can look up that serial number on a couple of internet-based services, and it'll give you, so you can kind of like see if the thing's, you know, genuine or not. And with that, it'll give you the whole spec of the machine. And obviously, if that spec of the machine and the serial number matches what the seller is describing as the machine, you kind of know. You kind of know. You know, the thing's genuine. The seller's genuine, and the machine's genuine, and everyone should, you shouldn't have any worries about going ahead with the buy. So I've done that. As I say, it's Westmere. It's a 6-core, 3.33 gigahertz Xeon Intel processor in it. And this particular one, the seller has got 32 gigabytes of RAM in it, which is absolutely loads for any kind of for Pro Tools or any DAW, audio DAW. And it's also got an SSD in it, which is another thing that just kind of makes this particular one stand out, because that's going to give you a distinct performance advantage over a traditional kind of old school HDD, you know, magnetic disc. It should perform a lot faster, and also theoretically should last longer because it's got no moving parts. So I think I'm going to go ahead and get that machine. What I need to be confident about is that I can run, once I get a hold of the machine, I can install a legacy version of OS X that will run Pro Tools 10, because that's probably almost definitely the version of Pro Tools that I'm going to go with, because that at the moment that's the only option in terms of like getting a genuine license, and an iLok is the only thing that's I can see for sale out there really is a iLok which has got a Pro Tools 10 license on it. So I'd go ahead and buy the iLok, and then all you do is you download Pro Tools 10 from Avid's own database. So you're getting the actual software is coming direct from the manufacturer via their database, and they're protecting that software by you needing the person installing software needing the iLok to run it. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and get this iLok. It's the only one out there. I want to get it while I can, and I'm probably going to go ahead and get this this Mac, the Westmere Mac, and we'll see what happens next day. Okay, so I've got the Mac. It's arrived. I'm going to show you an unboxing of the Mac in a moment. The iLok's also arrived, and I'm fairly confident I can get a version of legacy version of OS X to run Pro Tools 10, and that would be the last version of Pro Tools 10. The last version of OS X that will run Pro Tools 10 is Mountain Lion. So although I've not found a source like an Apple source to download Mountain Lion directly, I'm still confident. I have a friend who's a lifelong Apple user who knows many more things about Apple software and the Apple environment than me, and I'm hopefully going to go to him and he's going to help me get a legacy version of Mountain Lion on there. The machine has come with High Sierra, which is much more up to date than Mountain Lion, but it's still an old version of OS X, so behind where we're at now, which I think is 11 on like OS 11, and High Sierra is about 10.8 something, and then Mountain Lion's about, I don't know, something else, I can't remember, 10.6 or 10.7. So that's what I've got to do. I'm going to keep High Sierra, partition the SSD drive, put a version of Mountain Lion on, hopefully should be able to dual boot then into the new partition with Mountain Lion, and then install Pro Tools 10. Have to install legacy iLok software so you can run the iLok, and then we should be away. Okay, so this is the inside of the G5 Mac Pro. So a couple of things you may notice straight away. So this is the SSD drive that the seller put in, and he did tell me that he's not used a caddy, which is one of the drive caddies, which is one of these, to fix the SSD drive in. He's kind of just used a flying lead, as you can see, because otherwise you'll be able to see here, maybe not, but the drive caddy with a drive inserted into it would, when you pushed it in, would make the connection, make your kind of like SATA connections be aligned to do that automatically. We've got a really big graphics card. That's an absolute monster, that, isn't it? So you've got a new arrangement over the previous generation G5. So you've got the memory, the RAM memory, and the CPU units kind of fit on a tray that pulls out. Obviously, that's going to be some kind of heatsink for the CPUs. It's got a missing blanking plate there. That's not a problem for me. And as he said, it looks like some kind of capture card potentially. So you've got a coax, kind of like an old BNC type code. Well, it's not BNC, is it? Anyway, some type of coax connection there, and what looks like maybe a some kind of HD connection, video connection. Don't know if that's video port like you have on the PC or something like that. Yeah, I mean, it's got a few issues here with the case. Again, I'm not bothered about that. I can get a replacement, cosmetically fairly clean replacement case and just swap the lot into that. So shortly I'm going to power this up and let's see what this very affordable machine has to offer, whether it works and whether I can then modify it the way I need to get it running my DAW of choice. Okay. Also, I've got to mention it doesn't have the plastic kind of inner screen, kind of thick kind of plastic screen you got on the first generation Macs that would fit there, and then the outside, case side would then fit over the top of that. So obviously that's not part of this design here. I think obviously they kind of didn't have enough space to do that, but that's one difference, straight away. I'll show you what I mean by comparing it to my old G5. Okay, so this is my G5, but it's kind of come to the end of its life, and why I bought the Mac Pro. So this is a PPC G5, kind of circa probably like 2004, 2005. So as I mentioned, we have a difference in the kind of interior architecture, whatever. It's stuff that kind of comes with, in as much that you don't have this on the, which is, that's, I mean, it's really thick. You don't have that on the Mac Pro, with the one I've got 2009 onwards. I'm guessing you don't have that on the later ones either. So there we go. So let's see how it compares. But I mean, other than that, cosmetically from the outside, aesthetically, kind of looks the same, doesn't it? So that's that. So this is the end now of part one of this two-part video project upgrade about me upgrading my home studio. And just to summarise where we're at and what's going to come next. So you've seen the unboxing of the Mac. I'm now going to throw up a picture of the iLok, which has arrived, so I can run Pro Tools 10. So in the next episode, I'm going to go on ahead with installing the software I need to, including the version of OS X I need to get Pro Tools 10 running. I've switched on the Mac, and it's powered up straight away, straight out of the box. I did need a password, and I contacted a buyer, and the buyer sent me the admin password straight away, so I could then go in and just navigate around it, just make sure things are working. And I tested as many ports as I could, including FireWire 800 ports. So just a little note here, I'll go and maybe go into this a little bit more detail at the end of episode part 2, sorry, of this video about my kit, what I'm bringing forward in my setup. So Mac Pros only have FireWire 800 ports, and my G5 before that was FireWire 400 and 800, and the hardware I was using for Pro Tools is a 003 rack, which is 6-pin FireWire 400. So I had to borrow a FireWire 800 to 400 lead to test that the FireWire 800 ports on the Mac Pro worked, and they do. Tested the USBs, they all work. So everything seems fine. Next video, as I said, be showing you how I am going to partition the hard disk, install a version of OS X which is compatible with Pro Tools 10, which is Mountain Lion, install Pro Tools 10, install a legacy software, well before that install a legacy software for the iLok, install Pro Tools 10, and then hopefully it's all going to work. And also I'll be telling you how much I paid for the Mac Pro and for the iLok. I think you'll be very surprised. See you in part 2.